Hey guys, Comet here. Welcome to episode 8 in my Needy Duplicant series. In the last episode, I put in this logistics column down to the bottom of the map. That way I could carry duplicants and liquids. I started taking advantage of some crude oil. I'm running it into this reservoir, into the refinery, heating it up, getting some free coolant before running it into the oil refinery and eventually into the polymer press. And one of the very last things I did was actually put in this cooling loop here, which is doing a nice job of cooling this whole place down because temperatures were starting to get a little spooky. See, these trees stifle at 40 degrees? Yeah, 40. And so it's already over 40 here in the middle, so had to start cooling something. So the plans for this episode is going to be to fully utilize the oil biome down here, cap off all of these oil wells or oil reservoirs with oil wells, and then get in some petroleum generators, because I also got one last thing here. I also got the super sustainable achievement last episode. So I can build petroleum, natural gas, and coal generators now. And it's probably a good idea I do that sooner rather than later, because this hydrogen vent went dormant on me, and I'm starting to use up all of the hydrogen I had stored up. So I think what I'm going to do is extend out the roof of the oil biome. I just want to cap everything off with insulated tiling here. And then I'll issue some dig commands. And I don't think Stinky's going to be able to do all this by himself. So I'll probably take on another duplicant as soon as the printing pod gives me the option to. I'm also thinking about putting in... Do I have those yet? Yeah, these transit tubes. Since this is such a long run for duplicants to travel down, I just don't have the plastic right now to finish the main tube. So maybe we get in a few more of these polymer presses, ramp up plastic production, finish off the transit tubes, and that way everything that I'm working on down here will get done more quickly, because duplicants don't have to spend so much time traveling. Oh, and there is the next duplicant. I think I'm pretty tempted to just take a Freya as my extra digger. Let's modify you a little bit. Let's give you digging and suit wearing. All Freyas actually come with frostproof, so I'll leave that, but I'll edit the others. And I'll end up with a perfectly balanced duplicant here. Alright, let's go ahead and print Freya. I want you to be attacking if I ever issue an attack command, but secondarily digging. Well, that explains why nothing's getting done. All of my workers are running. Okay. Maybe you put in those power generators sooner than I was expecting. I don't have enough steel. I guess gold amalgam is fine for now. Ooh, I do want to leave some space for the transit tube access. Don't forget about that. And then I can put these right next to that. Maybe 3 is fine. I could just take any petroleum that the polymer presses don't use and run it back into the generators, but I think I want to do it in an insulated pipe. Like this. Because this area down here is supposed to be really warm, but anything up here shouldn't be too hot. And that'll just be controlled with, I guess an iron smart battery is fine. Yeah, I don't think anything up here will be getting hot enough to melt that. Now for power priority, I do still want these hydrogen generators to be the first to come on. These are set to 9050. I think I'll do 95, 75. These wheels, I'm gonna change this to 10 actually. And then in the middle between those, that will be the petroleum generators. So I'll set this to come on at 80 and turn off at 50. Alright, here comes the petroleum. These are starting to make power now. So that should kick all of the duplicants off of the hamster wheels. Perfect. These aren't running. Why aren't these running? Should be the hydrogen generators before the petroleum generators. Oh, it's just because the batteries are desynchronized. That's fine for now, it'll balance out. Oh. These plants are actually too cold. I didn't think about that. So this doesn't count as a rec room anymore. Nope. Okay, we need to fix that. Maybe instead of 0 degrees, if it's ever above 20, go ahead and turn on. This area should even out in temperature over time. Oh, this says overpressurized. I forgot it could do that. Okay, yeah, natural gas is over 5 kilos per tile here. I guess we just make this room a little bit bigger. And it might not be a bad idea to also get in some natural gas generators. I suppose right here is fine. This produces, let's see, 90 grams a second of natural gas. This produces... oh, I guess it doesn't say. But natural gas generators consume 90 grams a second, so assuming constant uptime on the refinery, I would need 1 natural gas generator. So I'll put in a second one, because I'm obviously producing more than that with this oil well. I don't know how much more, I just know that it is more. And then I'll also need to get a separate battery for... no, actually, these I want to run all the time. Yeah, I think these will just run all the time, because we need to keep natural gas pressure low. So I'm digging out a lot of area here to make some room for this natural gas, and this waterfall right here is actually doing a really good job of keeping it contained down here. It's not really escaping up into the outer biome, which is really nice. I think I've almost got enough plastic now to put in all of the tubing I want to do here. Let's see, so this will be the drop-off point, and then the pickup point, I guess, could be like right here. Then I could just come up, over, and then point down. But the fire pole is in the way. Okay, let's get rid of that. I'll drag this up into there. Oh, and I have enough plastic. Excellent. That means I could actually tell these polymer presses to stop producing for the meantime. And I'll do that just by snipping the output there. It'll back up, and then they can't take in any more petroleum. I want the petroleum to actually go into the generators now to keep power going. And I'm also thinking of a way to increase my ceramic production. So using some auto sweepers and some storage bins, I should be able to reach all of those kilns from right here. Yeah. So it has to hit the main tile block of a building, and you can find the main tile block of a building by where it is in the grid. So like it's the bottom left tile of the kiln because that's where it snaps to with my cursor. So as long as the auto sweeper can reach the bottom left tile of the kiln, it doesn't have to reach the whole kiln. So like this one is half in, half out. Because the half is the half that it was snapping to, this kiln will be supplied by this auto sweeper. Because I have some big plans for building later on, and I'm gonna need a lot of ceramic to do that. I love building things out of ceramic. Its properties are just so amazing. Because really, the only thing better than it is the best item in the game. So I'll set one storage bin to coal, and then the other to clay. And then the auto sweeper should be able to just process everything for me. I'd rather duplicants supply large lumps into the storage bin rather than taking a bunch of small trips to keep the kilns fed. And then to make sure all of the priorities are correct on this, I'm going to do kilns at 1. That way my duplicants are more likely to put stuff into the storage bins rather than the kilns. I want the kilns fed by the sweeper, but the storage bins fed by the duplicants. Alright, it looks like this transit tube is in place now. Duplicants should have easier access. Since that's the case, I'm gonna start just eradicating this biome and just impose my will upon it. So all of this can go, all of this can go. That'll keep Stinky and Freya busy for a long time. And it's probably a better idea for the stuff on top to be finished before the stuff below it. That way I seal up all these gross gases, like the sour gas. I can filter it out later. Ooh. What'd I just get? Totally tubular. Have duplicants travel 10,000 meters by transit tube. Nice. Well, it's good to know they're actually using this. I don't like how slowly this is working here. I want this water to get pumped out faster. The problem is that I don't have anywhere to put it. All of these tanks are full. I did mention I wanted to put in a water tank. And I'm thinking the best spot for that might actually be right in this area. I just don't know how wide I want the main column to be. It might not even be here, actually. I would prefer it to be in the center of the map. But if there is a geyser in the way, up top somewhere that I can't see yet, that'll cause a lot of problems. So what I think I'm gonna do, actually, is just continue this ladder up here. And we're just gonna go exploring. Ah, geez, Stinky. What are you doing? You just trapped yourself there, bud. And you've got no oxygen left. Come on, you can do it. Go, 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 go. Well, this top layer is complete now. That means they can focus on exploring. Let's prioritize this a little bit. Well, so far so good here. Nothing's in the way yet. So we're still looking good over here. I don't see any geysers in the way. I don't think we're anywhere near the top of the map yet, though. Okay, right there. Yeah, where it goes from unknown to disappearing. That's the border. So if I start pressing down now, all of that space has to be explored. I'm tempted to put a pump just right here by where all this crude oil is. Because this thing's not doing anything, because it doesn't have anywhere to put the water. The problem is that there is also water over here, so I would need another filter anyway. I guess I could just add some more tanks. I'm not quite to the point where I know exactly where I want to put my water tank. I'd like to see a little bit more of the map first. I suppose I could always move it later if I have to, but that never feels great. I think I'll finish up down here, let all of these errands get done, then I'll have the duplicate labor available to dig out a nice area right here, and just, if I have to move the tank later, then so be it. I just have to get something down. Oof, we get dangerously close to that geyser. That's a little spooky. Depends on what that is. Definitely gonna have to go take a peek at that. Ah, jeez. That's not good. We're starting to get some really bad brownouts. Okay, I have to seal this off to stop new water from coming down into here. Yeah, so I'm gonna put in some transit tube access points. Yeah, I guess here. This was all temporary anyway. I'll get all this out of here and all of this out of here, and then redo this whole setup. I'm gonna take out this chained, where it goes from refinery to press. That was good initially, just to get some base products going, but I need to separate all of the chains so that they're not dependent on each other anymore. Oh, of course that would be the last of my plastic. And I just took out the whole system. No! Okay, that was the last piece of the transit tube network. So now I can actually completely seal this off. And the only way in and out will be via the transit tubes. That will prevent any more polluting water to come in here. It should eventually just be crude oil down here. That way this refinery will run more efficiently. Because more of the pump will be spending more of its time picking up crude oil rather than other liquids. Now, I do still need a metal refinery somewhere. So I think I'm going to do something a little different. I'm just going to have it run crude oil like I was doing before. But now it's just going to dump that heat into, I guess into down here is fine. I'll get some ladders. Dig this out. But it should be pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna have it... Oh, what the hell. What are you doing? Go get air. But I'm just gonna have it go into a reservoir? How do I want to do this? Because I want it to constantly flow, but I need the refinery to have priority. Okay. So, reservoir... I guess, here. And then I want all of the heat to be concentrated down here, so I'm actually going to use insulated piping towards the top. So it'll come straight down into the reservoir. Then it'll come down tube out here, switch to radiant piping, drop off some heat, and then come back up. Switch to insulated, and then into there. Now this won't constantly circulate, so I need some kind of a priority system here. I think, actually, just that will work. Because if the refinery is emptying, then the bridge will not have priority. The problem is that the only way the refinery can fill up is if there's something on that line. Okay, I can't do that. How about this? So it will, if it can't go into the refinery, it will bypass it via this bridge. But if the refinery is outputting, then the output has priority. Yeah, I think that'll work. And it will actually get its input just from... This is a good spot. Sure, and then I can just bridge like that. So the whole point of redoing all of this, it looks like it's doing the same thing, but it's not anymore. I've taken the refinery out of the whole petroleum processing. It's its own separate system now. Alright, now I want to get in some gas pumps. Gold amalgam is probably fine. Just in this area here. That's gonna have to run through a filter. And then natural gas can come out this way. Anything else? I suppose could just go in here, and then I'll move this vent to be up there. Okay, this is actually the top of the map right here. Regolith, space exposure. Yeah, that's the top. And it doesn't appear that there's any geysers in the way. Got a little close to that volcano, and obviously I split the two water geysers down here. But other than that, I think this central transit column will work all the way up the map, so I'm gonna leave it. And now I know where I can actually put that water tank. I like to have a deodorizer on every floor, a transit tube on every floor, and then some statues on every floor. Oh, I don't think I have those yet. Yeah, I never researched that. I'm gonna go all the way to new media, so I can pick up plastic ladders. And maybe even get into some glass. Probably not this episode, but I know the next episode is probably gonna be the housing unit. And that'll require a lot of beautification to keep the duplicants happy. Oh no. I was not expecting that to happen here. Why is it so hot over here? It's all the heat from these machines. Maybe I need to redo this cooling loop. I need to get some cooling by these trees here, so I guess I'll just put some bridges there. And then I can come back up. Looks like right here. So I'll just run it down. Maybe here? I'll go over maybe through that farm and then down. And then I guess I'll do the same thing over here, but I can go through the floors for the hatches. And then all of that piping is too complicated to go through, so I'll just go back onto the main line there. So water is flowing down there and up there. Right, and I think that was the... yeah, there's the metal block I was waiting for. So this has a decor value of plus 20 with a radius of 8 tiles. And if I look at the heavy watt conductive wire that's going to be running through the column, it has a decor of negative 20, but only a radius of 4. So if I put one metal block on both sides, it'll reach all the way across and completely negate all of the decor penalty for the conductive wire. Because when the duplicants travel along this tube, they're exposed to that negative decor. So, since they're always going to be traveling down this tube, this is a great place to just decor bomb. Ideally, I would make it out of gold, but I don't think I have any of that yet. But spacing-wise, yeah, it would be the deodorizer, then the metal block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would technically reach all the way to there. I don't think I need that much decor, though. So 2 is probably more than enough. And then I would have the transit tube. And then this would be like one floor module that I would stack all the way up. And so distance-wise, that is 6 tiles. So, putting everything together now, I know that I can come out 6 tiles. That's 2 statues. And a transit tube. So all of this space here would be the central pillar. Or the central column. That means if I were to put in a water tank, it would have to start here. I do want to leave a little space by this geyser here. So maybe not there, maybe not there. That's probably plenty. So I could come down all the way to there, and then over. And I guess I'll just stop at this ladder. I think everything in here is way more than enough space. But I will dig all of this out. And then use ladders to just let the debris fall. So I'll have one giant clean water tank here, and I won't need these buffer tanks anymore. It's really easy to do a many-to-many system by just having one big open tank than it is to have everything done via piping. Because then I could pump this into here, and then have another pump here that sends it down to here. Now, yes, I would be double pumping, but the amount of power I'm spending at that point is kind of irrelevant. I'll take the slight power inefficiency just for the ease of setup and guaranteed effectiveness. I think I might have found the other source of brownouts here. Now that the water can't get down into here, I need a way of cleaning up this area, or I could just elevate these. That might be a better solution. So I'll move them up to here. Alright, generators have been moved. Brownouts aren't happening anymore. They're almost done with the water tank over here. Just need to put a bottom on that. But now I can start thinking about how I want to go about sending all of the water everywhere. So every consumer will have its own dedicated pump. So I know I'm going to need 2 for the oil biome, because that's... each well uses 1 kilo. Pipe can supply 10 kilos. And I have 11 wells. Well, that's actually 1 pump. I think I just need the 1 pump. If I do a proper buffer, so if all 12 or all 11 had 100% uptime, then yes, I would need that second pump. But every once in a while, one of them is going to be overpressurized, like this one is, and it's not going to be consuming any water. And so I can have a buffer downstream of this pump between the producer and the consumers. And so whenever one gets overpressurized, the buffer will fill up so that when all 11 are actually working, it can consume from the buffer. But that means once it gets down to here, it will need 2 pipes. But the buffer can be filled with 1 pipe. I don't have to worry about that right now, because I'm probably not going to get these oil wells online this episode. But this will just come straight out. This needs to jump over. That one comes down. And then it'll actually go into that one right there anyway. So I don't need that. This can just go straight into there. Then I'll also need a pump over here. And this will be supplying this line here. So I'll just come out and connect into there. And then the outputs of this and this will actually just drop straight onto the ground and be combined with any other water sources like this geyser here. I don't have to worry about filtering out crude oil at this point, so I'm just going to put a pump here to clean up this area. I think I'll actually put in some bridges here. And then a bridge there. So that I can take out the crude oil from that side. Because if every other packet from both of these pumps is like water, crude oil, water, crude oil, water, crude oil, then when they recombine here, I should have 1 solid pipe of crude oil, because it's half and half. And then the piping for this, I think I'll just bring it straight over. I'm gonna need some bridges here. So down, down, up, up. And then this will actually connect into that. And that. Whichever one is available. Because both go to the same storage tank. I think that'll work. There might be some weird flow errors. I'll have to see once this starts working again. Alright, I think this tank is ready for water redirection now. So I'll just put a vent here, and here is fine. I'm gonna let all of these empty out. And then connect, and then essentially just bypass them. I'll connect just straight into there like that. I don't need these here anymore. This is serving the same purpose these did. Now I don't need that. And this actually doesn't need to go into there anymore. Don't think I even need that anymore either. And now these buffers are actually irrelevant now. Yeah, I'll let that empty out. I'll let that one empty out. Looks like it's already empty, actually. Because this is the buffer. So that can just go straight down. Now, I technically don't need the starting buffers either. So you know what? Maybe I just redo this whole section. So I have this space to double everything up. I'll do 2 water sieves and 2 desalinators. And piping is going to be a little tricky. I need it to go in, but if that can't finish, then it'll go in. Then these two need to join up, go in, bypass, and in. Then these two outputs can join up. And then I should be able to just mirror that on this side. So that will go in, bypass, in, join up, and then go in, bypass, and in. Okay, now I should have all of my bases covered. These pumps will continue to work down here, cleaning up any of these non-crude oil liquids. They're also processing the crude oil into the refinery. This pump will get this area cleaned up, and everything is going to be put into this one giant tank here. That means the temperature will be an average of everything. So if I have really hot stuff like this geyser mixing with something that's actively cooled, like potentially the output from this geyser, I'll end up with something in the middle. I know some people will make like a dedicated cool water tank and then like a hot water tank. I don't think I have the luxury of doing that right now. And I'd rather just have the inputs to certain systems that actually need colder water cool off the water that's coming into themselves anyway. So even though this was one of the first things I queued up in this episode, it's still taken them forever to do this. I've almost got this right side of the map cleaned up. But a lot of crude oil sitting here waiting to be used. But I think actually the most important thing that I did in this episode was switch over to petroleum power. Because all of my hydrogen is gone. Now that I have a very, very stable source of power, I can move my attention elsewhere and start thinking about how I want to permanently house my duplicants. I think getting a proper housing unit in place is long overdue. I'm gonna have to reveal a little bit more of the map. It's a big dark area here, big dark area there, up here, and over there. I want it to be mostly symmetrical, and I just need to dodge some geysers. It might even be time to start taming these volcanoes that I found. So I got a copper one here, copper one there, gold here, and iron here. So getting renewable metals for free is kind of a no-brainer. I think now that I have proper industry going here, I'll have the materials to actually build some decent structures. The biggest thing being ceramic and metal for shift plates. It might even be time to start ranching some of these slicksters. Because I'm producing so much carbon dioxide from these petroleum generators, that would pair really nicely with the slicksters. But again, I'm not too sure where I would put that ranch, probably somewhere near the bottom. But I need to reveal some more space to really plan things out. Maybe I don't actually get into housing in the next episode. I think I'll take care of the second half of the oil biome and do a lot of digging. Now that I have that second digger, exploring should be a lot easier. I'm not too sure what kind of shenanigans I'll get up to in the next episode. I think I got some really important things done in this one, though. That's really all I have time for in this episode, but everything considered, the base is definitely progressing. So, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next episode.